learn everything the game wants to teach you. Especially here, there's just like, especially with modern Sonic, there's just like a lot of different moves, and the game will just like you're just like going, and like visually, sometimes it's hard to even see what's happening, and the game will just be like, L2! You're like, what? I don't even, in that moment, I don't even remember what L2 is supposed to, R1! Like, R1, R2! Like, what are you talking about? And obviously, like, yeah, you learn the level.
Oh, so I just wanted to scare you a little bit for Halloween, okay? Oh my god. Alright, so as you already know, X-Gen's been out for... How long's it been out for? Over a week now for those of us who got the Digital Deluxe. Less than a week for you poor folk who only got the regular version. Or sorry, the physical stands who hate digital anything. I'm sorry, I'm not saying you're poor as well, okay? No one is poor, leave me alone. It was just a joke, okay? We got shit to talk about. Shit's getting interesting regarding X-Gens, sales, reviews, the movie 3 as well, because now that X-Gens is out, they're about to ramp up the movie promotions as well, so shit's getting interesting right now. So we're gonna get to all this right now. But if you subscribe to the channel already, please make sure to subscribe, alright? So interesting shit, okay? So I know what you're thinking, what's the Metacritic update? It still says 80, okay? Universal acclaim on the user score, which I still think is higher than the Frontier score, which is a good thing. But that's not what's so interesting right now. The Gymquisition has given the game an 80. You're probably thinking, who the fuck is that, right? Now, if you remember, this is on the PS5 version, by the way. If you remember, they gave the lowest score for Frontiers of all the critics. As you can see here on Xbox Series X, Gymquisition, they gave the score a 15. No, that's not a 15 out of 10. Okay, we're not talking about heroes. It's a 15 out of 100. Okay. So, to go from scoring the previous game a 15 out of 100, right? Like, your score was underage. To go to an 80, like, that's like 15, 30, 45, 60. That's more than quadruple. That's more than, what's the word after quadruple? That's more than cinquentuple of the score you had before. So, like, this is changing the minds of the people here. The critics, like, you really thought Frontiers was a 15 out of 100, and now you think the new game is an 80. Like, they did something right in your eyes, clearly. Okay? That's not the only change you gotta make. We've got some interesting shit we need to talk about. As I said before, Metacritic has different scores for each platform. So for example, as I always use this as a perfect example because it's just the ultimate example to showcase what I'm talking about. If we look at Sonic Adventure 2, aka the most critically acclaimed 3D Sonic game, even though Heroes came out afterwards, people didn't see the vision. If you look at it here, it says only 73 because they show the version with the most scores, which is the GameCube version. But then the Dreamcast version, which has less scores, has a higher score of 89, which is the highest Metacritic score for a 3D Sonic game. So it's like every version has a score. So 360's got a 60, PS3's got 65. But you need at least 4 critic scores per platform for the score to even show up. So there's other scores here that we can't fully see yet because the other they haven't got enough critic scores yet. But we can still take a look at what's there so far. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting. We're going to start with Nintendo Switch. Okay. We look at Nintendo Switch. There's 3 scores here. 90 from Nintendo Life, which is pretty good. Okay, we've got an 80 from My Nintendo News and a 70 from Digital Trends. Now, Metacritic weighs each critic not equally. Some critics get more clout than others, so it's not a perfect average. But if we were to perfectly average this would be an 80. So even the Switch port doesn't seem to be suffering too much right now. And if I was to take a wild guess, I would assume that Nintendo Life would have more weight than these other 2 critics, but I could be wrong on that. I don't know the clout levels, but it's looking good for the Nintendo Switch port, basically, is what I'm trying to say. If we look at the Xbox Series X ports, we've got 80, 80, and 90, which means there's a good chance that if one more score comes in that's at least an 80 or an 85, that the Xbox Series X version of the game will be higher than the PS5 version, which is still sitting at 80. But this is where shit really gets interesting. Before we get to the really interesting part, I just want to show you something, right? Right now, we sorted this by Metascore, so the highest scores here are the 90s, right? Which is where IGN is as well. But this is where it gets really interesting. PC has only got 2 scores. Remember, you need 4 to get the official Metascore for a platform. But look at the 2 scores we got. 100! That's right. We finally got one critic that gave the game a 100, a perfect score. No other critic gave it a perfect score. But try hard, guys. has given it 100, saying Sonic X Generations is a brand new, exciting Sonic game generously packed with the remaster of a beloved franchise title. The $50 price tag is worth it just for Shadow Gems, a fantastic new game that captures the best aspects of the franchise, one of its most beloved characters. And then Hooked Gamers gave it a 95, which is the second highest. So basically PC has got the highest scores, which makes sense because PC's the best version, let's be real, right? Like, you know. But yeah, Hooked Gamers said, with engaging new abilities for Shadow, fun boss battles, and a celebration of franchise history, Sonic X Shadow Generations is a thrilling return for fans and an intriguing and compelling introduction to newcomers. So basically, right, this averages out to about 97.5, right? If they get 2 more scores in the 90s, right? If they get 2 90s, the average here is going to be in the 90s. As in, like, this could be the highest rated Sonic game ever on Metacritic, above Sonic Mania Plus, which, if you recall correctly, Sonic Mania Plus is currently the highest rated Sonic game on Metacritic, right? I feel like I said Netflix at one point and I made a mistake, but Metacritic is what I was trying to say. The Switch version has a 91, right? Now you don't see that when you search Sonic and Sort by Metascore, because remember they show the most reviewed version of the game, so Advanced still shows up at 87 alongside Mania Plus, which shows the PS4 version, because they tend to review the PlayStation version the most, right? But when you click on it and then you go and view platforms, yes, Nintendo Switch Sonic Mania Plus is the highest rated thing here. Before you bring up the Genesis games or whatever, older games are not fully Metacritic out yet, because Metacritic came, I believe, in the 2000s. So a lot of older games are not fully Metacritic. So things like Sonic 2 or whatever are not, like, they have the new versions like 360 and things like that, but not so much the old version. So 91 is the highest thing on Metacritic for Sonic, basically. And if the PC version of Sonic X Shadow Generations gets 2 more critic scores that are at least 90, right? This could be 92, 93, 94, and that would be basically like universal acclaim, or what's the word that they use? Metacritic must play is the term. Let me type in something that's critically acclaimed. Ocarina of Time, you know, they glaze that shit. Yeah, Metacritic must play. That's the term I'm looking for. Universal acclaim. It would have that shit on it. I don't know if it would show up for a secondary platform. I don't know how that works because it doesn't show up here with the 91. But, you know, it would be a 90s, right? A 90s is great, okay? We love the 90s. The 90s gave us Tupac. Anyway, we got more shit to talk about, okay? UK charts. Sonic X Shadow Generation speeds onto the podium, but Black Ops 6 takes the gold, okay? So, yes, Black Ops 6 sold more than X-Gens. Let's be real. You know, that's just how it is. But here's a look at this week's top 40 in full with platform breakdowns of all the titles available. So you can see Sonic did pretty decently. I mean, it did better than Alan Wake 2, which is a new game. I'm looking at see the new thing here, because we can't just compare to things that have been out for a while, because that's a bit unfair to be like, it beat Mario Party Jamboree when, you know, that was one last week and it's not new right now, you know, but it beat, you know, Alan Wake 2. That's pretty good. That's the only other new thing here, but yeah, you know, still, right? It's third. That's good. I mean, I would have liked to see it beat FIFA. I mean, they don't call it FIFA anymore. They call it EA Sports FC. They lost the FIFA license. But yeah, it's still pretty good for Sonic X Shadow Generations. But an interesting thing that I noticed here is that, well, aside from the fact that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling, and are they gonna make Mario Kart 9/10 if 8 Deluxe is still selling this well? I don't fucking know. But aside from that, PS5 is the most popular platform now. It's beating Switch. Before, like, Sonic seemed to be selling mostly on Switch. I guess they realized that, you know, if you start actually focusing on graphics and, you know, not just, I don't know, it just feels like Shadow is cooler and more people want to play it. I just feel like that's what, then the whole Nintendo thing, like, maybe Nintendo fans have finally realized that 30 FPS is just not it, but maybe they'll realize that next year when the Switch 2 comes out and things run at 60 again. I don't know. We'll see. Apparently Elden Ring's come to Switch, so I'm guessing that'll run at 60. Switch 2. So apparently that'll run at 60, right? Switch 2, right? But yeah, I mean, it's good to see that the most popular platform is no longer the Switch, because why would you want to play these Sonic games on the weaker hardware and get the weaker performance? I don't know. If that's the only hardware you got, then I get it. But like, seriously, man, like, if you're playing on console, it should be on a PS5 or an Xbox. Like, why would you play it on Switch unless that was all you had? Right, I get it, but like, I mean, I guess the handheld benefit and yada yada yada, but like, even a Steam Deck can run these games at 60 FPS now. Like, the Switch thing is getting a bit played out now. Like, I could play Shadow Gens on my Steam Deck and hit 60 FPS. Settings turned down, but still, I could play it, and I think that's an important thing to note here. But anyway, off the X-Gens news, we've got movie news. It says new Sonic Movie 3 footage posted by Paramount Pictures Philippines. Okay, it's a little small snippet, but we'll take a look at it anyway. Boo.
That actually is real scary.
There's a little Halloween kind of thing, like it's scary kind of thing. Boo. But yeah, I find it kind of interesting because like people are having a go at me for my Shadow Generations review or for covering a Jason Griffith voice mod. Apparently mods are bad now. Apparently we should move on from the past and not use Jason voice mods. Move on from the past in a game called Generations based off past levels that even came before Jason's era. But they're saying I should move on all that. I'm blinded by nostalgia because I don't like the new Shadow voice as much. But like, Keanu Reeves sounds great as Shadow. So maybe I just don't like that voice. Maybe it's not a nostalgia thing and maybe it's just a preference for a voice. Like everyone has a preference, right? But nonetheless, I think Keanu sounds great here. I'm looking forward to hearing his take in the movie. We already heard him in the trailer, of course. And of course, we got the DLC coming in. See, I forgot about the X-Gens DLC. That's happening, okay? Get hyped for that. Like, that's gonna be crazy. Hopefully they use Westopolis music for that since they didn't put Westopolis in the game. But yeah, we got more to talk about here. It says Jeff Fowler was at Sonic Revolution. He talked about Keanu voicing Shadow. He did extensive research on the character and did different takes with his voice lines to get it right. So basically, a good actor cares about the role he's playing and researches that role. So that kind of thing. So we're gonna watch this quick clip quickly. Can't speak.
So awesome that we got Keanu Reeves to voice the character, and he was so fantastic to work with. I think he thinks the character is awesome. I think he definitely understood what we were going for and was very excited to kind of do his version of it. But he, like all the cast, just really wants to get it right. Really cares. I mean, we would be, he would just give us so many different versions of line readings and just want to keep going. Like it was
passion.
It was not just sort of showing up and reading the script into a microphone. Like he really wanted to create a very fan sort of faithful version of the character. He did research, like he really, like in our first meeting, he very clearly had gone and done his homework, which was awesome, and so no, I just can't say enough wonderful things about Keanu and what he brought to the character and just the experience of making this movie. So I just think people are gonna, really, really love his version of Shadow. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's gonna be fire. I'm looking forward to that next trailer. I think that's gonna be pretty cool. OpenAI launches ChatGPT search. Holy fuck. Anyway. Next piece of news. Now this one, don't get too hyped just yet, okay? Don't get too but it says here, Paramount showcased the Sonic Movie 3 in a promotion meeting. There's one silhouette in the background that means something. And you can see here, they've got one of the greatest Sonic characters in all of history that has been so underutilized. And you can see Silver in the silhouette, because they got Sonic in the middle, they got Shadow to the left, they got Silver to the right. And people are thinking, oh, it's fake, we ain't getting no Silver, or the logo's wrong, and yada yada yada. But the logo being wrong actually makes it more believable. But it says here, update, if you look to the right, pics are real from a presentation by Paramount in a Chinese film festival. Apparently the local marketing team knows nothing about Sonic, so I guess that explains why they randomly dropped a family logo in silver, meanwhile while calling Shadow a Dark Sonic. So, just like what I was saying, like, usually with leaks, when they use the fake shit, it's actually more believable because they're not hardcore Sonic fans. So the hardcore Sonic fans will try and make it too accurate, and it's actually unbelievable. But they just pick things, these people, the actual companies, they just pick shit off the internet. Like, that looks like Sonic, use that in our presentation type shit. So yeah, they pick some shit off the internet. Some fan probably made this and put it on DeviantArt, and these people just found it and used it in their presentation because they're Paramount and they needed some Sonic art. So there's no guarantee or confirmation of Silver. That being said, I do believe Silver is happening. Maybe not necessarily for movie 3, but Silver is happening in the movie universe because Jeff Fowler, I believe it was Jeff Fowler, or it was Tim Miller, one of those people, basically went on record saying we're far from done in terms of like, we're gonna milk this shit, we're making too much money. Like, we know movie 3 is about to do $500 million, okay, at least $500 million. So movie 3 is gonna do $500 million, And they're gonna want to do a movie 4, maybe a movie. As long as they're making money, they're gonna keep doing it, right? It's like the MCU. They just won't end on a high note. They could have ended off the end game. They chose not to. So they're gonna keep going. And where are you gonna go, right? Because there's a hard cap after like the 2000s where you enter the cringe territory of stories, and you don't want to go there. So that leaves you with Chip. That leaves you with Silver. That leaves you with Metal Sonic / Metal Overlord, Mephiles. You know, there's a cap on how far you can go. So Silver's getting brought into the movie franchise at some point. Whether it's movie 4 or movie 5, I don't know. But I feel like the next direction after movie 3 is either the Metal Sonic direction, aka the CD / Heroes plot, or the Silver direction, like the 06 plot. You know, like those are the two places they're going after this. It's one of those two. They might do a mishmash of the two, I don't know. But I just feel like those are the two directions they're gonna go, right? And if it goes Metal Sonic, then that Heroes remake is coming. I've said already, if we see Metal Sonic as the teaser at the end of movie 3, the Heroes remake is happening. It's just confirmed. Like, because literally with X Gens, Izuku went on record saying, we saw that Shadow was gonna be in the next movie, and we planned accordingly, right? So if Izuku went to like Paramount, like little sneak, like ask him a question, like, is Metal Sonic gonna be teased at the end of this thing? Like, should we have something for that ready? And they were like, yeah, have something ready. And they're like, okay, we're gonna remake the GOAT. We're gonna put Metal Sonic. Well, Metal Sonic's already in the GOAT, but maybe they add like a playable Metal Sonic or something as a bonus for the remake, or they add like a movie skin for the remake to help sell it. And then they drop that because the Metal Sonic teaser would come this year. So then you drop the Heroes remake late next year, right? And then like, you know, the next movie comes out the year after that. And then you add in like the Metal Sonic DLC alongside the whole shit. I don't know. There could be a whole situation, right? But yeah, the movie franchise is looking interesting. I just hope that they decide to end it on a high note at some point instead of just running it to the ground. Because like the moment we see Yakka, it's a wrap. Okay, we all know that. That's the point where once they start getting into we're doing the colors plot and things like that, then it's a wrap. I mean, okay, the colors plot was not bad. It's just that the story was cringe. The plot of the Interstellar Amusement Park inherently was not a bad plot. You do it again, you know, maybe without the Whis and just kind of rework it a bit and just use the idea of the Interstellar thing, it might actually be alright. You know, like take the idea, touch it up a bit kind of thing, but, you know, I just don't need them going that far. But by the time they get that far, I'll probably be like in my 40s or something at the rate at which these movies are coming out, because you got too many 2000 spots to do before you can go that far. So we'll see where that goes. Anyway, we got some bonus news to talk about. Sega showcases Shadow the Hedgehog design in never before seen sketches, the ultimate life form, and they use the stretched image of Shadow from Shadow Generations. One of my favorite parts of Sonic X Shadow Generations released last week is the wealth of music, stories, and art in the game's collection. Apparently, I think they spoke to it was a specific person. It's a huge privilege, therefore, to be able to introduce the below sketches from Sonic Team's Kazuyuki Hoshino from the development of the Shadow the Hedgehog game. Before this, Hoshino worked as an artist and character designer on multiple games such as CD, Adventure, and Heroes. Well, 2 out of 3. Shadow the Hedgehog as a character was first introduced in SA2 as the ultimate life form, before appearing in Shadow 5, where he wields a gun. Hoshino worked as an art director on both projects, and says, I wanted to create a deep, mature story suited to backstory. Shadow was created with the idea of him being a lead character, not just part of a cast of characters, of course. Shadow's a leading man, of course. Hoshino tells you a game out of working on Shadow the Hedgehog game, where that promise was fulfilled. When designing Shadow, I wanted to create a character with that sense of speed to rival that of Sonic himself. Shadow's speed is a result of running very fast. Isn't it a result of skating? And it'll be boring if a new character achieved their speed. Oh, Sonic's speed. Okay, that makes more sense. I saw a Shadow for some reason. So I thought back to when I designed Metal Sonic, who achieves his high speeds via a jet engine, and also drew inspiration from speed skaters, giving Shadow his own unique ability that allows him to achieve the same speed as Sonic, but in a different way. Which is kind of like, why did they remove the skating for boosting? Like, I don't know why they keep going with this flying boost in like Shadow Gens and things like that. Or even, I think Forces had the flying boost as well for Shadow as well. I can't remember, but I think it was like that. But yeah, I think the skating is just so much cooler. But yeah, we can see some of this artwork. This is from Shadow 5. You can see he's got the gun strapped, locked and loaded. True American. More artwork here. You can see the skating animation. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's the Terios. Like when they were making him look more like Sonic. Yeah, it was Force Terios. Character is more obviously evil. So in his early design, I'm trying to give him more evil appearance. You called him Terios the prisoner. Okay, so yeah, that's the Terios artwork. In the standalone game, Shadow doesn't just run fast, he wields guns too. That was unique and hasn't been explored since. Yeah, I like the gunplay. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. I thought the gunplay was fun. It's a particularly cool character, darker, edgier counterpart. And we got, ooh, like a Black Doom. Look at that shit. But yeah, you can read the whole article if you wanna go through all of that. What's this favorite series of action adventure games? Man, there's no Sonic here. I mean, it's a Sonic related, like, you know, article, and there's no Sonic here. Well, AC2 and Brotherhood alone make me vote Assassin's Creed. Let's be real. Like, come on. But anyway, a few more bonus things here. There's a Halloween themed Tales tube. For those of you who give a fuck about the Tales tubes, you can watch that. I'm gonna skip that, but this is really cool actually. There's a Shadow controller coming out, I believe. These people actually got an officially licensed. They had a Generations themed controller. They had a Sonic version, a Tails version, a Knuckles version. It came out like I think earlier this year, I believe. And I didn't cover it in a video, but I did see it and it looked cool. But now they've added like a Shadow version to the collection. So that's actually a 3D model of Shadow that's inside the controller. It's not like a sticker or like a drawing. It's like a 3D model inside the controller. It's really cool. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. That's not a sponsorship or anything. I just thought it was cool and I wanted to show it. But yeah, interesting things happening for, as the reviewers call them, the blue blur and the black blur. We know what you guys think about all this news, and we shall see more news soon. Okay, I'm looking forward to really seeing what these Metacritic scores land on for the other platforms. We need one more score for Switch and Xbox, 2 more scores for PC. No one's reviewing on PS4 and Xbox One. It's 2024. But yeah, man, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. More content coming soon to the channel. But that's all I have to say right now. So, Premy out.